Win News.
Tonight, murder charges laid after a stabbing death in Tawantin. A firebug allegedly targets a Hervey Bay home. And a Korean snorkeler drowns in Noosa. Good evening. Police divers have spent the day searching the Noosa River for the weapon used in the alleged murder of Tawantin man Nathan Thorne. A 38-year-old Peregian Springs man was arrested last night, charged with murder.
38-year-old Robert John Knott was led into the watch house last night, accused of the stabbing murder of 21-year-old Nathan Thorne.
A 43-year-old man's been charged with attempted arson after a fire broke out in a Hervey Bay home last night. Fire crews were called to the Torquay address just after 9 p.m. to find smoke billowing from the roof.
Fire crews had to force their way inside this home to control the flames.
Thousands of eager bargain hunters braved the crowds to bag the biggest sales on Boxing Day. In less than 12 hours, Queensland shoppers are expected to splash out $368 million. Stay with us, will you? Coming up after the break, another earthquake hits the region and new parents receive the gift of life. Welcome back. The Wide Bay Burnett was rocked by yet another earthquake at the weekend with a 3.7 magnitude quake hitting waters off Fraser Island on Boxing Day morning. Geoscience Australia says the tremor, which hit at 6:40 a.m, could have been felt by people up to 50 kilometres away. More than a dozen aftershocks have been felt in the area since a 5.4 magnitude quake struck in late July. It is traditionally the busiest time of year for Australian cinemas, and this Christmas has been no different. Thousands flock to theatres for the annual blockbuster releases, and this year there was something for everyone.
Anywhere with air conditioning was always going to be popular this Christmas.
Time for sports now with David and David.
Paul.
It's the season of giving, but where is the love for our very own cricketer, James Bazley?
Tell Brisbane it's not giving him any love. The Heat keep overlooking him for the Big Bash. It's now 3 games in a row. Ouch. Plus, who's tipped to make waves at the Hervey Bay Skiff Championships? And Maroon stalwart Kevin Walters to coach Queensland. Good evening, welcome back. Kevin Walters says it's an honour to coach Queensland after playing 20 games for the Maroons in the 80s and 90s. Walters signed a 3-year deal with the QRL following weeks of speculation about who would replace Mal Meninga. Walters says there's no bad blood, despite not being first choice after Paul Green knocked back the job.
Respectfully from the QRL, they took the time with their process to make sure that they got it right as best they could. And I believe they've got it right.
The QRL blamed the media for the drawn-out process.
The only candidate, as you know, there were a number of candidates, and to see their names bandied around looking for another job or taking on the Origin job didn't go down well with their employers. So the media were fairly unhelpful in that regard.
Thanks for that. Walters will stand down as Wayne Bennett's assistant at the Brisbane Broncos. Sunshine Coast cricketer James Bazley looks to be on the outer at the Heat after he was snubbed for their 3rd Big Bash game. To make matters worse for the Scorchers player, Brisbane called up youngster Jack Wildermuth, who's also an all-rounder. The Heat were hammered by the defending champions and are the only side yet to win a match this season.
The Heat took on the Scorchers in a fiery Big Bash clash. The visitors couldn't have started any worse.
Moving on to surf life-saving Noosa's Jordan Mercer says the current Nutrigrain Ironwoman series is the toughest she's ever contested. The 22-year-old leads the series with 2 rounds to go and is taking a carefree attitude into the final weekend of racing.
Jordan Mercer isn't carrying the weight of expectation despite sitting on top of the standings.
I'm in a great spot. I'm going to make the most of it, and if I come away with the series win, awesome.
Fraser Coast Waters are ready to host this year's National Skiff Championship starting tomorrow. Over 50 votes will contest the 94th edition of the titles, which has an action-packed 7-race program.
On the eve of race day, organisers have tipped this year's National Skiff Champs to be one of the biggest.
I'm out of time. Done.
Good on you, David. Thank you for that. Stick
you're
around.
welcome.
Corinne's got plenty of time. And the weather next.
Good evening. Well, a cloudy and windy start to the last week of the year with some welcome rainfall as well throughout the region. You can see these grey clouds that rolled into Hervey Bay today, but in the last 24 hours to 9 a.m, Gingin scored a whopping 128 millimetres, around 40 for Bundaberg, and Maryborough receiving around 22. Now it's looking like partly cloudy conditions for the next couple of days and for the new year. But first up, let's take a look at where the mercury was sitting today. For 1770, it was a top of 29 degrees, 27 for Monto, Bundaberg 25 degrees today, 26 the top in Hervey Bay, 17 millimetres in the rain gauges there, 1 millimetre for Gayndah with a top of 28 degrees, 26 for Sandy Cape and Maryborough with a top up of 22 millimetres, 18 millimetres for Rainbow Beach, 24 the top, 22 for Kingaroy and 27 degrees in Gympie today with 3 millimetres. On the charts, there's thick cloud over much of the state. As you can see, we have a series of low pressure troughs which are triggering rain and a few storms. You can see skies are clearer in the far southwest. That's under a high pressure ridge. Now the monsoon trough extends from a deep low that's in the Northern Territory. Now it should move slowly east-southeast over the next couple of days. So the low in combination with that active monsoon trough means we have a moist air mass into much of northern Queensland, the northwest in particular. Some desperately dry areas have received some heavy downpours. An upper trough extends into central Queensland. It should move into northern districts tomorrow. So tomorrow, heavy rain for the North Tropical Coast, particularly between Babinda and Ralston. Severe weather warning has been issued. Falls up to 250 millimetres are possible, and a flood watch has been issued. Mostly fine for the southeast. We could see some showers along the coast, and there's a chance of showers and storms for CQ. For the Wide Bay, partly cloudy tomorrow, just the chance of showers around Fraser. We've got southeasterlies reaching 35 kilometres per hour and a high fire danger, so windy again tomorrow. Bundaberg 29 degrees tomorrow, possible early shower. Hervey Bay, it'll be windy, 28 degrees. We may see a shower tomorrow. Possible shower for Maryborough, 28 for Gympie tomorrow, partly cloudy for Kingaroy. If you are heading offshore, a strong wind warning has been issued for tomorrow. We have southeasterlies reaching 30 knots, seas to 3 metres and a southeasterly swell, 1 metre or 2 metres though offshore. The tidal diary now, and high tide for Hervey Bay, expect that at around 11 o'clock in the morning, low tide 20 to 6, and we have that high tide for Burnett Heads at 4 minutes past. Now if you're heading to one of our beautiful beaches, Agnes will be a good spot for a surf, a nice spot for a swim. You can head to Hervey Bay or Elliott Heads. Sunrise just before 5 a.m, sunset 22, and a look at the next 7 days. 29 for tomorrow, may see an early shower, possible shower for Wednesday, and New Year's Day a top of 30 degrees.
Corinne, thank you for that, and thank you for your company as well.
Now, if you'd like to touch base with the Win News team, perhaps with a story idea, you can do so on Facebook and Twitter.
We shall be here tomorrow night from 7. We hope you are too. Good night.
Good night.
This has been a Win News presentation. Win News, Regional Australia's #1 news source.